Welcome to SIK Baggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve. Today got something very cool on the lift for you back here, 2024 Road Glide. Today I'm going to be installing the KST Custom Spearhead handlebars on this 2024. Now, this goes for the 23 CVO and the 24 models, and this is just the Road Glide. So it's going to be a little bit different for the street glides, and as soon as we can get a street glide in here, we'll do a video on that. So you can do the 10-inch without having to extend any cables or change anything. You can do the 12-inch, and if you go up to the 14s, you may have to add the clutch cable extension, which KST also sells. Anything taller than that, you're definitely going to have to change cables and stuff. So just bear that in mind. And not to take anything away from the KST YouTube channel or those guys over there. They do an amazing job. They have a great YouTube channel. I'll put a link down in the description to their video on a 2024. Now, they did the Henry apes in that video, which are a little bit different. Basically the same install, just a little bit different bars. So if you want to check that out, click the link down below. So if you're not familiar with the Spearhead bars from KST, I'll put a picture up here on the screen. As you can see, it is a 3-piece bar. And because it's a 3-piece bar, you actually have a lot more adjustment in it. So if you're sitting on the bike, you can actually pull the bars back like this, and you can also pull your hand grips in like this. So you have 2 types of adjustments on that style bar. So that makes it a pretty popular bar. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, so let's get the camera over here to the soft table. I'll get the 3 pieces laid out so you can see what comes in the box, and then we'll get the camera over here and we'll get them installed. So this is everything you're going to get inside the box on the KST Custom Spearheads. Like I said, 3-piece bars. You've got the middle section and then of course the 2 side sections, and that gives you that super adjustability on these bars. Now, as I got them in box, I always inspect the bars. I've installed KST bars in the past, never had an issue with them. Super clean on the outside here as well. Their powder coating and their chrome has always been mint. I've never had a bars in here that had any like kind of dirt and stuff underneath the chrome or the powder coating. Let's get the camera over here and I'll show you how to start taking this 2024 Road Glide apart and get these installed. Make sure to cover up your front fender and your tank. So before we get started on the bars, there's one thing I want you to do. Get your seat off, get your saddlebag off, get your side cover off. Right underneath here, you'll notice if you've had a Harley Davidson Touring model in the past, this changed once again. ECM is now behind your left side cover. There used to be a big 50 amp fuse right here. Now it's a 60 amp fuse and it's right here above the ECM. I want you to pull that before you start doing your handlebars. Now, a lot of us that have been doing handlebars for a long time, we don't take the main fuse out. And then you throw engine codes. It's not a big deal. You just go in and you clear them out. The problem with this 23 CVO and the 24 is if you don't pull that main fuse, you're going to get an engine light, right? You go into your ECM, it's going to show you no codes, 0 codes. So at the end of this video, when we get the handlebars completely installed, I'll walk you through on how to get rid of that engine light, because there are no codes, but yet you still have an engine light. This video will have chapters on it as well, so if you're watching it on a computer, you can see the little chapters. You can hover over it with your mouse and it'll tell you each step along the way. So if you're here just to see how to clear the engine codes, go ahead and skip to that chapter. First thing we're going to do is remove this ignition cap right here. You're going to take a very small flathead screwdriver and you can get under this and you can just simply pop this up. Just work your way around it, be careful. Get that popped off just like that. While we're here, we're going to remove these 2 Phillips head screws. Right up here at the top underneath your screen, you're going to have another plastic Phillips head screw. We're going to remove that. We're going to take our flathead screwdriver again. There's a little plastic grommet here that has to come out. So we're just going to get underneath that and pop that up. As you can see right there, I just got underneath it and popped it up. Now I've got the camera zoomed out, but the plastic on both sides has a 3/8 bolt, one on each side. I just wanted you to see where we're working. I'll zoom in. That little silver bolt right there, it's a 3/8. We're going to take that out on both sides. Both sides of this, and we're going to separate it by pulling them apart. It does take a little bit to get them apart. Just like that. Got one back here on the back side. Just like that. Now to get these separated, you will have to turn your handlebars. So if you have it on a lift and you got it in wheel chock, you're either going to have to back it off or remove your wheel chock. I've got mine set up where my wheel chock comes off pretty quick because we have to do it quite a bit. But we're going to turn the handlebars as far as we can. And we're going to sneak these guys right out of here. Just like that. We're gonna go back the other way. Sneak this one out. Just like that. Next thing we're going to do is disconnect our 3 wires that go up to the switches and the handlebars. They've got this white clip just like this. There's 2 down here and there's one that floats over here to the left. So we're going to take a little flathead screwdriver. We're going to push that in and pull it apart. Disconnect that one. We'll get down here to these 2. We're going to pull all 3 of these up into the center right here. Now these just go up into the bars right now. Now you will notice the switch housings on these bikes are completely different. We've got our perch on the rear. You got 2 Torx 27 bolts right here. So we're just going to remove those first. So on the back side here, there's a plug that comes in right here. You can see the wire right here. So we're going to pull this off gently. We're going to roll this back. I'm going to roll it upside down. Hopefully you can see the plug a little bit better. It's right here on the back side of the perch. If you pull that rubber thing back, you can see there's a little clip right there. We're going to push down on that middle and we're going to disconnect it just like that. Now if you don't have a big enough bag to put these in, which I do not, we're just going to wrap a towel around it just like this, just to protect it from banging on anything. We're going to take a piece of painter's tape. This stuff pulls off easy later. This just keeps you from banging on anything later. We're going to repeat the process on the other side. Torx 27, 2 bolts. I'm going to pull this away. We're going to reach around here. We're going to undo this plug. Take our towel. All right, now we have everything ready to go ahead and pull the bars off. So we've got 4 1/4-inch Allen bolts right here, and we're going to remove this top and then simply pull the bars away. Now once we get that off, we can gently lay these back. We're going to pull them back just a little bit, and we're going to push our wires through this hole. So we got our handlebars up here on the soft table. Right here on the back side of the switch housings, you're going to have 2 Torx 20 bolts. So we're going to remove those. We're going to take this back side off right here. We're going to be gentle with it. Pull that off. So you're going to see right here, you've got the same white clip that you had on the other end. So use the same kind of flathead screwdriver. We're going to get in here. We're going to push this down and pull this wire out. Just like that. This side is your clutch side, so the only thing you have to do right now is go ahead and take the grip and all this off. There's one thing else I want to show you, this little clip right here. They've made this a lot easier now if you want to do heated grips on the 23 CVOs or 24s. You got a wire that comes in here inside the grip, comes back up through here, comes around and plugs in right here. So that makes doing heated grips tremendously more easy. So once you have this wire disconnected, all you have to do is lift up and slide this off. Now this is going to be your throttle side. Once again, Torx 20 bolts right here. Same thing on this side. This is your heated grip. If you had heated grips, it's going to come in, come out right here, plug in here. Right here, we've got this same clip. So we want to get our flathead screwdriver right down in that hole like that, push down on it and pull back and release that. Got a little plastic push thing right here. You just simply push that down and roll that back. It's going to give you access to the throttle wire. I'm going to come around to this side so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to push this in, straight down in. We're going to push it in and we're going to pull up on that wire. Just like that. Now we have that all disconnected. All we have to do is raise up, slide the grip, throttle, everything off. So now we're going to pull our wires out. We're going to push from the bottom, pull from the top. You get a single plug down here. You're just going to pull and push at the same time and get this all the way pulled through. Just like that. We're doing the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to push on the bottom, pull on the top. We're gonna feed these plugs in. Make sure they're not catching on anything. And then we can just gently pull this harness out. Got these paper stickers on here that get kind of caught up. Just like that. Now we can take these stock bars, toss them in the trash where they belong. So when you're getting ready to put your bars together, it's real important to orientate this stuff the right way. If you look on this middle piece, you'll see a KST logo on one side. So if you're looking at this thing setting on the bike, the KST logo would be on the right-hand side. So we know it would be on this side. These loops go towards the front. The cracks right back here in the back will be towards you. We're gonna push that in. And these are tight to get in. So you may have to do a little hitting with a rubber mallet to get them all the way in. But at the end, you want it to be flush with the bottom of this right here. So now we have them both on there. The bottom is flush. If you set it up right just like this, like you're setting on the bike. This is me setting on the bike. I've got our cracks in the back, which is verified by the upright KST logo on the right-hand side that I can read. So go here, verify that. And we've got our bars in with the holes facing the front of the bike, facing away from you. So we're gonna flip this over, right? Now we can access these holes, but you have to make sure that you flip your grips over as well. So this is now going to be the throttle side. So we're gonna move this over here. And this is going to be our clutch side, which goes over here. And we need to make sure that we flip our cables around as well. So the way we pulled them out. So now we got it like this. So now we're looking, this is the front of the bike. So this is gonna be our clutch side, this is gonna be our throttle side. So I have a piece of string like this with a nut tied onto the end. This is a nylon string, so it doesn't break very easy. Your biggest thing is making sure that this string doesn't slip out of the tape while you're pulling the wires. On this side, super easy to do because we just have the one plug. We're gonna take our nut, we're gonna set it inside here, we're gonna blow it through. Should be able to stand it up so it'll go down now. And we got it coming out the bottom here. So we're gonna take our electric tape. We're gonna get our wire over here, make sure this stays out of the bottom. We're gonna tape this nylon string to the wire. Go up about 4 or 5 inches. I start on the connector because I wanna make sure that I protect that connector. Now, we've got a good string on here. We're gonna slide this through. Just like this. We're going to push and pull at the same time. This one's the easy side because it is just the one plug. So now we've got that one through. This side over here has the 2 wires on it, and you want to stagger these plugs just like that. I put a little piece of tape around it to keep it staggered. If you stack them, it makes it super hard to get through that corner. Start at the connector again, like that, making sure this one stays under the other one. Same thing on this side. We're gonna blow the string through. Gonna push and pull just like we did on the other one. Just like that. Now we have everything in correctly. We're gonna leave it like this. We're gonna start on this side. 2 things I wanna quickly point out. A little tooth right there sticking up. It's kind of a wide tooth, and if you look inside the end of the grip, you've got a wide gap here and a small gap here. So you need to make sure that if this grip comes out after you lay it down, you put that wide gap on that wide. It slides right in that groove. So we're gonna put it in, lock it in like that, hold that in place, walk it over here, and we're gonna slide it right back on, right into the grip, push it right up to the edge of the handlebars there. We're gonna leave this out. We're gonna plug this one back in. So that one's ready. I'm gonna listen for that click to make sure that it's in there. This excess right here, we're gonna go ahead and finish pulling through the handlebars. So on the back of this switch housing plate right here, you've got a nipple. It's a screw. It's the end of a screw. It's on this side. You can see it's the same screw as these, but it's screwed all the way in, and that is supposed to set into the bars, and it locks into a dimple on your stock bars, and it keeps this stuff from moving. These handlebars, just like many other handlebars on the market, do not have that hole. That gives you, the rider at home, more options to where to put this. So you want to back this out until that screw is flush with that piece of metal in there. Right there, it's flush. We're going to put this on, and then after we get it on the bike and we get it positioned right where we want it, we'll snug that screw down. It's going to push into the back of the bar and hold it into place. Right here is a little notch on the edge. Of course, you've got your hole up here at the top for your thumb switch. This notch on the side is for this wire right here. So we're going to slide this over. We're going to get it over this. We're going to make sure this wire is pulled up into that slot before we screw anything down. There's a couple of things I want to show you on this switch housing. The grips, as you can clearly see, are completely different if you've done bars on the 22 and older, and this is different as well. On the old style bars, your throttle sensor was in the end of the grips. There's a big tube that slid into the end of the bar, had to be wired through and hooked up down here. Is a big goofy system. This system, surprisingly, one of the cooler things I've seen so far on the newer models is this right here is now your throttle sensor. So on the grip, you can see it's different as well. The old grips had a kind of an engagement gear tooth system in the bottom down in here on the inside that grabbed that gear that stuck out on the end, so that gave you your throttle. But with it being in here now, you've got these two teeth. You've got a small slot here, a thin slot, and then a wide slot here. With this, the thin slot right here goes on that little tooth right there, and of course that slot glides inside that groove there. So you want to make sure it's turned this way. These two teeth line up with the teeth holes inside here. So we're going to line those up first. We're going to make sure that's setting in that groove. And see, if I hold this in place now, you can see it works just like the other throttle did, but it's all internal inside this, which makes this way easier to do. Once again, this big slot right here is for a nipple that's right here. Now I've already cut that off. It's just a plastic nipple. This is just a pair of side cutters. I went in here and just snapped that thing right off. Because when this is on, these bars don't have that groove that allows that nipple to set inside there. So you don't need it. We're going to slide it onto the bar just like that. Holding that in place, we're going to go ahead and get our switches connected. Once again, heated grips right here. And then down here we've got our throttle sensor. That's the black one. We'll plug it in, listen for that click, make sure it's all the way engaged. Once we get this on here, we're going to snap that closed. We're going to put our housing cover back on, and we're going to tighten it down. Now there's two things that we need to make sure that we do before we put the handlebars back on the bikes. Your riser top clamp here on the inside, it's going to have a nipple right here sticking up. Just like the old style bars and just like the new ones, you have to get rid of that nipple. What that did is lock your bars into place. The handlebars that we have in most aftermarket handlebars do not have the hole for that nipple. See the nipple right here? I just ground it off with a tungsten carbide bit on a Dremel tool, zipped through it, and then I just kind of filed it down smooth, and then that's ready to go back on the bike. The second thing that you need to do is right here on the cables. Right here, you've got a bolt and a bolt. You've got a clip just like this that goes up here. You want to take those bolts out, remove those clips. You can slide them down, you can remove them if you want to. I've left them on there. We put the bolts back in and tightened them down in case you ever need them in the future. Now on this bike, we will not be changing the bushings. This bike is brand new, so we're going to put the bars on and see how these bushings handle in there. And if in the future we need to change those riser bushings, we will. Now we got our 4 bolts that go back in the riser clamp. I'm going to go ahead and add just a touch of blue medium strength Loctite on the ends of these bolts so they're ready. I'm going to bring the bars up into place. I'm going to set them in there. I'm going to grab our riser clamp. Make sure that you can read the Harley Davidson. That goes that way. We're going to start these bolts in. So I'm just going to snug these down for now. That's going to help me hold it because I'm doing this by myself. I've had the other 4 bolts out here and here until now, because as these do come with Loctite kind of already on them, you can see the red Loctite. Once I removed them, the end of that where it actually grabs in that thread is kind of wore off. So we're going to go ahead and preload up with some more blue. This has red on it, which, I mean, you can put red back on it if you want, but I think blue will going to be enough for us. We're going to go ahead and get those started in. We're not going to snug those down yet until we can actually get the handlebars in the position that we want them. The best way to center these bars, I find, just get you a little caliper like this. I've just spread these apart. I go from the inside of this to the edge of that. We're going to make sure that that's the same. We've got it right there. We've got it right there. When you have all of this loose, you can move the bars right and left. And you have to watch it on road glides too, because you have to remember this is a fixed fairing. So if you've got these pushed up too far, when you go to turn, you're going to hit your fairing. We're running these bars pretty well straight even with the front forks. Once we get it all on there, before we tighten it all down, we'll snug it down, we'll back the bike off, we'll move the handlebars full turn right and left to make sure that we're not hitting anything. So now we're ready to put our perches back into place. I'm going to take our ghetto towel off here. We're going to bring this back up into place. Pull our clutch up into place. We're going to look at this wire that plugs into the perch and make sure it's not pinched before we start these screws in. We're going to go ahead and get these in. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Make sure that wire's down out of the way. Going to bring our perch into place. Make sure it's butted right up against that handlebar. Before you tighten it down, double check that wire again to make sure it's not pinched in any way. So once again, with the wire, we're going to bring it up, make sure the clip is orientated in the correct way. Click it in, make sure the boot's covering everything to keep it watertight. I'm going to come right down in here. We're going to plug our cables back in. We've got the 2 on the right side, the throttle side. Push it in, listen for the click. Come over here, get our left side in. Listen for the click. I'm going to take you off tripod for just a second. You can see where this cable and this cable go through that clamp that's on the side of the frame right there. If you want to run 14-inch bars, you will have to take these cables out of that clamp to give you more room. These are 10s, so we're good. 12s are good. 14s, you're going to have to pop those cables out of that clamp that's on the side of the fairing bracket right there. Now we're going to put our fairing pieces back in, so we're going to require us to turn the handlebars once again so we can kind of get these in, get them in place. Go around the handlebars here. Slide these, kind of jigsaw puzzle these back into place. But if you twist and turn and you're real careful, you can get these slid right back into place. Make sure that your clutch cable is inside here, not out here rubbing up against your radio. So we're going to pull this into place, just catching down here on my tank cover. Pull this one over. So we're going to slide this in. We're going to get this under, pull it back up into place, just like that. I got to pull it over, kind of straighten these back out. We've got to make sure that we've got our brake cable in there, just like the clutch cable on the other side. So make sure that that's setting inside there. And then we're going to pull these together. Bottom one in. Let's get the top one in. Just like that. Put our little plastic grommet piece back in. We can start that little screw up there. Got our 2 bolts that go on the side, so we're going to try to sneak those in. these are just the 2 bolts on the side of the plastic. And up here at the top we have our 2 screws that go in here underneath our cover. Got our plastic cover. Remember, the bottom one just kind of clips in there, and then we're going to snap that top one in. Now we've got our wheel chock back in place because it's going to help us hold the front of the wheel while we adjust these bars. We already know that we got the center of this dead on, but now we have to move these in and out where I think they should be, or where he'll like them. This one's pulled in a little bit more than this one, as you can see. So what we've done is we've loosened these 4 bolts. We've got that wheel chock up there to help us hold it. So we're going to try to turn this in just a tad, like that. We're going to try to match them up. Like this one, go out a little bit. Once you get it in place, however, you can measure like from the back of the handlebar to the fairing, back of the handlebar to the fairing. Granted that your front wheel is exactly straight. You can tell that just by looking at the bar going across here, if it's exactly parallel with the bottom of the radio. Now that's got us in the ballpark right there, but when you sit on the bike and you grab those handlebars, you're definitely going to know a little bit of difference if one side is out from the other. So just make those minor adjustments before you torque it down. So at this point, we've got the handlebars installed, everything works. I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna tighten all my bolts down because I did kind of leave it loose so we could adjust it on the fly when we were done. So now that that's done, I'm just gonna cut the camera and get everything tightened up, and then I'll come back here and I'll show you how to clear those engine codes if you have them. Quick tip for you on these style systems like this, it's like a double bolt system that's in the same clamp. You're gonna wanna go back and forth on those bolts. You do the top one, you do the bottom one, you get them snug down, you go back to the top one, I guarantee you can get a whole nother turn out of that top one. So just keep going back and forth until you have both of them tight. You're gonna do that on both sides. So let's cover the triangle on your dashboard real quick. What they suggested on the KST video, and I'll put a link down in the description. You can go over there and watch the whole video. Rhett did a good job of actually figuring this stuff out. These little plugs that are on the back of these perches right here, if you unplug them and plug them back in, that usually gets rid of that little triangle. Now, the check engine code thing, that's a little trickier. So I've got you up here a little higher so you can see what I'm doing. Right here on top of your switch housings, you got the circle with the little 4 dots around it. You got your screen, you can see that. You got your on and off button here. Don't start the bike, but you want to hold this down and then immediately put this into the on position. You're going to hold that button down. You're going to keep it down. It's going to go in, it's going to read any codes that are on the bike. So on the older models, you could control it with that button. You do long presses, short presses, the clear stuff. Everything's on the screen now and everything is touchscreen. Now we had a check engine light, but I got into my DTCs and it said this exactly, zeros down the board. There were no codes. So I'm thinking, okay, clear DTC code. Clicked okay. You know, that was for the BCM. I went back, I did the ECM, went into it, cleared the DTC, started the bike, still had an engine code. Just go in here and do that to every single one of these. You're gonna wanna go right down the list from BCM all the way down to the bottom to IMU and clear. So you're gonna go in, you're gonna touch it again, clear DTC, okay, go back out, go down to EHCU, clear DTC, go back out, and so on and so on. Once you get them all cleared, go ahead and turn the bike off. Let it reset, and then we'll turn the bike back on, and that actually took care of the check engine light. We no longer had a check engine light. So it's something that's kind of weird, but it worked. So that's it. Pretty easy to install for the 23 CVOs and the 2024 bikes. We've got all these different bikes, but this 2023 CVO or 2024 is a whole new ball game. So stay tuned for future videos on that. I will cover more in depth on DTCs. I'll cover more in depth in all of the changes that are on the bike. Once we get one in here, I'll do some riding on it and I'll give you some feedback on that as well. So those of us that have been out there riding kind of the older model bikes, now they're considered older model bikes. You know, this is a game changer for Harley Davidson. If you want to get your hands on a set of these handlebars, I'll put a link down in the description down below. It'll take you straight over to KST's website, straight to these handlebars. But make sure to check out the rest of the website because they do have other handlebars as well. Check out the rest of our channel. We got over 150 bagger and Softail related videos. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. I'm gonna go get myself cleaned up, get myself back to work. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze. Hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos today. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button, hit the little subscribe button popping up over here. If you want to check out more of our content, I've got 2 videos right here that'll get you started. Not really gonna say anything else, just click one of those videos and take you to another video.